Well, I'm really pleased with our progress. Obviously, record production of 1.95 million engine equivalents in September. We just narrowly missed that 2 million milestone. Record production of 1.8 million for the quarter. That's up 10% compared to last year, despite that we had a really low August shutdown this year. So the third quarter performance, that gives us record production in all three quarters so far this year. And we also got back on track with installations with the Impro order in China in August. Historically, we've always targeted 3 installations per year, and now we have 2 with Impro and Zhongding, and we're still pushing for more before the end of the year. So it's a normal year for installations. The challenge is that we're comparing ourselves to an all-time high in 2013. Revenue for the third quarter was 13.4 million, and that's compared to 14 million last year. But again, that's because we gave away a 2 million crown head start to the strong installation performance in the third quarter of 2013. The revenue for the year is up 4%, despite giving away that 2 million crown head start from installations in 2013. Now, the positive twist is that strong installation performance last year is now starting to contribute with volume. So the installations in Europe have given us higher commercial vehicle volume, and we have higher passenger vehicle volume from the installations in North and South America. So I think it's a good result and a good trend. Production is up and growing, consumables are up, product development activity is up, and the overall market awareness is up and growing. So inside the company, the team is busy and motivated, and yeah, we're in a good place. Well, as I said in the first question, the development activity is up. The press release flow is more about timing and permission than it is about the status of the development pipe. I acknowledge that we haven't said a lot lately, but the pipe is quite strong. We normally have 8 to 10 operational press releases per year, and so far this year we've had 4, but we have drafts out for approval, and we hope to have more announcements before the end of the year. The industry has changed a lot over the last 5 or so years, and the OEMs have really cracked down on supplier information. And many shareholders will notice that we changed our boilerplate earlier in the year, and that was actually because one OEM complained about having his name listed in the boilerplate. And we were also surprised by that, but of course we had to comply. The result of this is that the press release frequency isn't really a good indicator of our progress, and that's simply because we aren't allowed to announce everything that we're working on. We've had 4 operational press releases so far this year. We hope to secure more. Some will come before year end, some will spill over to next year, and of course some will also be denied. We are pushing, and we share the view that more information is better. But in trying to seek that balance between information and irritation, it's always better to err on the side of caution. We have to be careful. Well, the performance details have started to come out, and it seems that every new piece of information just makes the story better. 325 horsepower and 375 pound-feet, that's 508 Newton meters of torque from a 2.7 liter V6 petrol engine. In power, it drives like a V8, and in torque, it drives like a diesel. It's a great combination. So we have 325 horsepower from 2.7 liter, and we can compare that to the standard V8 option for the F-150, the 5 liter V8, with 360 horsepower. So in specific performance, that's 120 horsepower per liter for us and 72 horsepower per liter for the V8. And even if we compare it to the 3.5 liter option, which is a turbocharged gray iron engine, that has 104 horsepower per liter. So we're at least 15% higher than that. And the torque is exceptional. 508 Newton meters, and this is compared to the Ram 3 liter diesel with 570 Newton meters. So again, in terms of specific performance, we're 188 Newton meters per liter, and the diesel 190. Yeah? So it's a real showcase of what can be achieved with compacted graphite iron. And now we're waiting for the fuel economy numbers to come out, and that's really exciting as well. And it's also interesting to see the journalist reports. Everything that I've read so far has been very positive, and it's nice that the journalists are also keying on the quietness of the engine, and that's the same as it was with the Ram diesel when it came out a year ago. This comes from the 40% higher stiffness of CGI, and that has never motivated an engine program, but at the end of the program, it's a bonus. And when the engineers stand around the engine and they hear it run for the first time, they're always remarking about the quietness of the engine. So the details are starting to come out, the volume is starting to contribute. First vehicles will be in dealer showrooms in December. Specific customer configurations will start to arrive in February, and the volume is going to continue to ramp up. The competitive benchmark will also continue to ramp up, and so will the overall CGI awareness. So the bottom line, it's a really good engine and a great reference for us. Well, we've grown from 17 to 19 over the past year, and the 2 new colleagues are on the technical side with a focus on development. We've said in the past that we had to put the ductile iron development on the back burner because of the core CGI demand, and there are other products that we'd like to develop as well. So as the revenue has increased and with a strong cash box, we've added to the technical team. I think we now have a good mix of foundry experience, deep SinterCast knowledge, strong mental horsepower. 4 of our 19 people are PhD in engineering, and also a good mix of age with young people coming in to protect for the continuity of the future. I'm proud that we do a lot with 19 people. It's an interesting comparison that in 2002 we had more people, and that's before we even started the production of our first high-volume engine. So we ask a lot of our 19 people, and they keep a lot of balls in the air, and they do it very well. We have an experienced and an efficient team, and I'm happy with the balance. We've done our budgeted recruiting, we have the team that we want, and we don't have any plans for further recruiting in the near term. Well, after a long run with a strengthening crown, now we see a weakening against foreign currencies. During the strengthening, we realized strong financial gains from our hedge, and now that the crown is moving in the other direction, we've already started to change our hedge strategy. Operationally, the weakening crown increases our expenses in our subsidiaries in the UK, the US, China, and Korea, but more than half of our expenses are here in Sweden, so that's not exposed. And of course, our revenue in US dollars provides a natural hedge for our US dollar exchange. So we're not so exposed on the expense side. The most important effect is on the revenue side. The majority of our installations and our production revenue is in US dollar and euro. So when we consolidate that back to crowns, the result gets bigger. And the ultimate result will depend on how the exchange rate develops and on the hedge, but it's clear that the current trend provides a net benefit for SinterCast.